Correct me if I'm wrong, the former Minister of Communications was a WIMBIS member?
Yes.
Omobola Johnson. So you've had someone in government, so to speak. What did you get from that? Even if you're not saying you needed to get anything from that, but what did you gain from that experience? And is this something you were looking at pursuing as well?
WIMBIS is a platform that
I'm sure you didn't nominate her, but I mean...
obviously, her capabilities got her to where she was. We're very proud of her. She did fantastic in her ministry. Okay. And what has happened with her is it's showcased that there are women who will not compromise, who will deliver, and women who would go into government and come out as squeaky clean as they went in, which hasn't been the case, in several occasions. But at least for that, WIMBIS has been able to put somebody out saying, this is one of us, this is a showcase, and I think the government should pay attention to that. We're a good pool to get women from, for sure.
Marketing, aren't you?
Oh, you know how it is.
But are there any specific areas you think women will be most effective in this administration?
Across board. I'm an advocate for the fact that until you've been proven incapable in an area, you're ready to do the job. There are women in engineering, there are women in nursing, there are women in teaching, they're in academia, they're in the whole populace. So why can't we have a female Minister of Works? Unless we have a bias towards women being out there in the sun, but then we allow the women to go and fetch water, we allow them to fetch firewood, but all of a sudden they're not good enough to go and inspect a bridge. So I don't think there should be any role that is biased against a woman. Women have the capability to meet those responsibilities. So I think the government should just look at who is the best person to do the job, who is best qualified, and put the right person on the job.
People keep throwing up, the cultural issue. I know the last administration did kill that notion for the most part. I mean, some of the most powerful ministries were run by women, so most of them fall in a very decent way. But the cultural issues are still being talked about. Is this something that should still be valid?
You can't replace that. You can't divorce us from our culture and the whole socio-cultural impact of that. And I think that's where policy comes in, and that's where early girl-child education comes in, and that's also where I spoke about gender awareness. If we have that part of our curriculum in schools, people grow up knowing that, oh, if I'm educating a boy, I should be educating a girl, and they should be given equal opportunities. So it's not to replace our culture; it is to enhance us. I keep emphasizing this, that we are leaving talent on the table. We are leaving unique experiences on the table because women have different experiences than men. Research has shown that women, when they are in positions of authority, they are more likely to also look at the less privileged, look at the weak, in the economy, and look at, children. And these are all the areas that, for me, are the real fabric of society, and that's what, makes you thrive as a country.
I'm going to be play devil's advocate here. This is not me. And be a chauvinist and ask this question about, and I even hear women talk about it a lot, about, when business deals are being cut at midnight, the mother has to go back home for the children and make dinner and all of that. How much of a problem is that going to be, or is it?
It's not a problem.
With politics, and we know how politics is run in this country and how tough it is.
Women in 2015, if I could speak on their behalf, have what it takes to participate in business, in public service, private service, and even in social enterprise. If I have to be up for 12 hours for a period to achieve a goal, I think most women will take the challenge and they will excel at it. Yes, there will be meetings at midnight. Yes, there will be deadlines that are hard to meet. But women are preparing themselves now to be sure that they're able to sit at the same table. We're not sitting at the back of the table anymore. Those days are over. Women are at the forefront of the table now, and more people coming behind are saying that the women who have sat at the forefront of the table are trying to balance things to remain at the table. So we're learning the skills, we're learning what it takes, and we're being at the table and we're doing well at it. So I don't think a midnight meeting now and again is going to stop me from achieving a goal if I was the one. And what's the point of not attending those meetings and being affected by it adversely? Get to the table and find a way to move the meeting time from midnight to 8 p.m. And then slowly from 8 p.m. move it to 4.
Realistically speaking.
Realistically, everything changes. The only constant in life is change. So the more you sit at the table, the more you have the power to influence what happens at the table and the timetable and the schedule. So I'm imploring that women get to the table, get there first, and then try and fix it or change the areas that you feel
Are
of
there
concern.
anything that President Buhari said during the campaign or didn't say about women that jumped at you?
There were a lot of things that weren't said. Perhaps it's not the right forum. Perhaps he's not dealing with it yet. Perhaps there are things that are still in the pipeline. So I don't want to preempt what will be said. We don't know, yes, we don't really know what the full agenda will be. But one thing I know for sure is that we're not likely to go back further from where we are right now. Women are not going to sit back. They're not going to be quiet. And they're going to fight for their right at the table. So even if the government eventually don't make issues out of the things we think are issues that should be brought on the table, we will bring them up.
Aisha, let's talk about something that he did say that was quite controversial, and it was about the First Lady.
I get all the controversial ones.
He said he talked about, it not being an official office, and so it would not exist under his administration. We know that the role of the First Lady is not in the Constitution in Nigeria, but we've had First Ladies who have pursued, several issues, socially maybe, that are dear to their hearts and might have achieved whatever results they achieved. How is the wife of the president, since we can't call her First Lady, I think, the wife of the president, Aisha Buhari, going to handle her role? And what should she be looking at?
I think she should concentrate on impact. I don't think you need an office to make a difference. I think she should have a goal, she should have a vision for where she wants to see women and children and any other issue that she feels is important to her. And I think she should just go out there and do it. There are a lot of people out there that are ready, a lot of organizations, both in the public sector and the private sector, that are ready to do this now. International Women's Day celebration in March this year, it really underscored the fact that women's issues are now become global. Everyone is conscious of it. And at no other time than now have we had people really focusing on this and want to make things happen. So she has a lot of resources at her fingertips, but she needs to have a vision. And then she needs to put like minds together and just make it work.
What are these resources, though? Because, if she doesn't have an office, it means she doesn't have an allocation. And a lot of the things she might want to tackle might need funding, and things along those lines. What can she do with maybe her influence or her position that would make you happy?
If there's an issue that exists, bringing awareness to it. You have social media.
I think she talked about underage marriage as well. She did mention that.
There are issues that are out there. Okay, for example, underage marriage. There are resources that are available nationally and internationally. There are organizations that already exist that are looking into this sort of areas. She has a name. She has a brand. Whether it's a public office, it's recognized or not, she does have a brand. And I think there'll be a lot of people and organizations really ready to rally around her to see her achieve some of those goals. It's a big issue.
How does she do this? How does she tackle that role, though, without crossing the line of
what line do you envisage?
Let me give you an example now. A Twitter handle was launched 2 days ago, First Lady of Nigeria. And there's been this big controversy about how President Buhari has already started deviating from his promises because now we have a First Lady Twitter handle. Something like that. The opposition is ready. I'm going to tell you that for sure. So how does she play a role without necessarily being seen as having an official position? I don't know if I'm making any sense.
Okay, can I just use an analogy? Bring back our girls.
Yes.
Does not have anybody's name behind it. Doesn't have an office behind
following
it.
a cause.
Yes.
If you follow a course, if it's a real course, you will find the resources. You'll find like minds who are going to join with it. We woke the whole world up with a hashtag.
Yeah.
She can do the same thing.
And it's about using your voice. So it's basically using your voice. The fact that you don't have an office doesn't mean that your voice is shut down.
An office is a physical space. There are e-offices these days that are working more efficiently than physical offices. So why don't we just test that out?
But you think there should be a First Lady's office, though? You don't want to answer that.
I'm just more conscious about impact. We talk about a lot of things.
Have powerful First Ladies and they've done well.
Yes, and I think it's also, we don't have to use a certain method to achieve something. What we need to focus on is what we want to achieve and how should we get there. So is it creating an office, or is it really empowering people and empowering her to actually make a difference? You can create an office today and she still won't achieve anything. We've had offices in the past. So it's neither here nor there, have an office, don't have an office. It's more about what do you want to do? How are you going to do it differently? How are you going to say at the end of 4 years, 8 years, this is what we've achieved. This is how we've moved women. I'll give you some statistics. Number of women in elective offices, 6%. In the last dispensation, we had 20% of women in the Federal Executive Council. That was good. But in terms of general appointive positions, 14%. So these are real statistics that we can track over time. Yes, we can track education, girl child education. Where are we today? Create a baseline and then track that over time. And I don't think you need a physical office to do that. You just need those resources.
Yeah.
Get those resources and you can achieve it.